Welcome back to Nickals and Dimes, the #1 podcast in combat sports. Today we are joined by Kuiu's Brendan Burns. He's a good friend of mine. We're going to discuss Kuiu, the origination of the company. We're going to talk about hunting, obviously, a lot. We're even going to talk a little bit about wrestling. So tune in, enjoy, and hit that subscribe button. Where you're at, it's like, why leave, right? You got like so much to do, and
we try and keep it quiet because everybody in the world's moving there, but it's a nice place to live. And just, I'm from the West, being in the mountains. And when I went out to school in Columbus, it was the thing that I was like, it kind of caught me off guard because I was like, I'm going to go to school way out there. That'll be a better situation. Hunting was obviously my favorite thing to do, more so than wrestling. So it was like, if I can just get hunting out of my mind, then wrestling would be good.
Right.
Opposite effect.
You needed it.
I probably should have went to Boise State or Wyoming, somewhere that was closer. But at the time, you're like, going to the Big Ten. So,
yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, when you were in college, did you get any time to like get out, hunt whitetail or anything?
We went to a couple places and scratched around in like some state hunting areas and stuff. We get like a Friday off and something and roll out. But and I mean, successfully, no. And it was like sneaking away for a couple hours. I almost felt bad. But it was, it's interesting. Just a different deal, smaller, and especially coming from the mountains.
Right. Yeah, so. For sure. So when you were growing up, you would say like you were really good at wrestling and you loved it, but your passion was like your real love was hunting. Like, or was it kind of a toss up?
Definitely hunting, but let's just quantify this with you guys here.
Right.
Like I was pretty good at wrestling. Like, let's just in the room with a couple of NCAA champs. Like my strongest wrestling move in college was signing the scholarship. So, that was as good as it got, unfortunately. So, no, I was definitely. It was a running joke in our family. Like my parents and stuff were always like, "Listen, hunting is not a job.
Right?
Like you got to give that up. Like you like that's something you do, but like." You got to, the wrestling's serious and you got a lot of opportunities and, I mean, like you'll grow out of it, but like hunting's not a job.
Right.
As it turns out, it actually is like, but it was just funny because there wasn't a path to what I do now, but I always in my mind, it was always my favorite thing to do. So
there really wasn't a path, but did you think like maybe I could figure out how to fit this into my life as like a career more than just like something to do? That like something you can do like actually as a job?
I knew it was what I was going to do.
You knew?
I was going to figure it out. Yeah. I mean, I was like, I was either going to own an outfit or go to Alaska or, during the summertime, I would leave college and then go up and guide for 90 days up in the summertime. It was like a total in the middle of nowhere, similar to where we're at.
Yep.
And then I would, which, in hindsight, like probably should have been at camps working out in the summertime. maybe that's why it didn't turn out so good. But it was always just like my #1 passion, what I really want to do. And wrestling was like what was getting me through college. So it was like, so I knew what I was going to do. I didn't know what the path it was. And I had turned down some jobs. I'd done some writing. And I did lots of other things until the right opportunity came along. I had opportunities, but it was like, I don't really want to be a writer and they don't make that much money and this and that. And then when the Kuiu thing came along.
Yeah. So talk to me about like how that came along and kind of got started.
So I met Jason Hairston in 2005 when they had started Sitka, and he knew who I was. I had killed this great big elk in Montana. And then he it was funny. I was walking through a show and he goes, "Hey, you're that kid that killed that big elk."
Side note, I saw that elk. Really? It was the one in Schneese?
Yeah.
How big was it?
Dude.
It was a state record at the time. It was the biggest elk ever killed in Montana. It was in like a 40-year period.
Yeah. You want to tell that story? That story's a great story.
So interesting. So I finished up at Ohio State, decided to leave early, went to a small college in Montana State University Northern, because it was actually the only place that transferred all my credits. I actually picked up some credits going there. Nice. And then wrestled 1 year, was All-American, and which NAIA, not NCAA D1 or anything, but and I was just done. I wanted to hunt. I was just done. And I went in and told the coach, like, it was great. I'm good. Like I just got other interests. I'm ready to rock and be done with this. And so the first day, so I drew this, I was out exploring this area, and it's just, it's funny how timing in life happens. So I'm out exploring this area in the middle of nowhere in Montana, like nowhere, nobody knows this. And they had just started this elk tag that was there. It was the first year they had permits, and I drew one, and I went out and kind of was exploring around and ended up finding this great big bull. And I, put a couple things together. I ended up, it was like the first year they ever had a permit. I drew one of them. There were only 13 people applied for 15 tags. So it wasn't like anybody. People didn't even know there was elk there.
Right.
Went out there and hunted what's called sign-in block management, where you don't have to talk to the landowner. You just sign in and go hunting, and end up finding this great big bull. He had 9 cows with him. Watched him for 2 days, and I mean, I didn't have the skill set at that time that I do now, but like just played everything right and snuck in on him and killed him and got him. And it was just massive. Well, I knew it was huge when I was hunting it. I didn't know how big. And then it was just funny because I had basically retired the year before, and the first day of mandatory practice was the day I killed that bull.
Wow.
So I was like, and so it's like, I never looked back and been like, I wonder what I should have done. Like, right decision for me.
Yeah.
And done. It was like it was the first elk that went viral when like email was just coming on. So pictures got on email, and it just went all over the place. It was just crazy. It was a crazy time. And it just kind of caught my foot in the door. Like one of those things, like lots of people kill something really big. But I after that, I was just like, I'm going to kill lots of big bulls. I'm going to be super consistent because I don't want to be a one-hit wonder. You know? So,
yeah. So then back to getting into Kuiu, you had met Jason.
So I met Jason, and then I was helping him do design stuff at Sitka, and I was the first, what they call their first athlete. It was a, ambassador, whatever it is, back in the day. And then when they sold Sitka to Gore, and then he called me and he said, hey, I got this idea for this consumer direct company. And I didn't even know what consumer direct was. He had read this book called The Purple Cow, which basically just talks about like cutting out the middleman. Like if you could ever get to the point where you could cut out the middleman, you could give a better value, build better product and give a better value without having to go to retailers and, all that. And this is groundbreaking. This is 2010. This is before.
At the time, there was no D2C.
No D2C, nothing.
Yeah.
And in fact, everybody was like, you guys are going to go out of business. Right. Like it was why they considered, and they're like, Jay, like he's a good dude and had one hit, but it's probably not going to happen again. Well, at the time I wasn't, I had just got married, but like didn't have a house, no kids. I was like, well, I'm gonna take a shot at that. Like he offered me this job and play number one. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. I was building giant houses off the power grid at the time and just doing stuff that I didn't love doing. I was good at it, but, and then, the thing just got out of hand. It went really good. We started a blog telling people about behind the scenes and really got people to believe in the D2C model of like, hey, you can buy the best product on the planet and you actually don't even have to pay as much because we're going to sell it direct to you. And we're going to tell you how it's built. And the whole model was like, we let everybody look behind the curtain, tell them about the fabrics, tell them about the design, what's better, why we did it. And if you create a customer that is super educated and they're the expert, then they go out and look at the market. And if you build the best stuff, they'll be back and they'll buy it.
What were kind of some of the trials you faced in the early days of forming that business?
Just getting big enough. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of it was getting enough product, and we sold out right away and we would sell out, but we couldn't get enough product. It always boils down to financing and there's a little bit of luck. Like everybody's like, oh man, Kuiu really took off. Well, at the exact same time we started Kuiu, people became very, very comfortable ordering stuff online and having it show up to your house. Like when Amazon was really taking off was precisely when we started. So, we had great product. Jason was a tremendous salesman. People bought into the brand and stuff, but there's a lot of luck too and timing. And we were the first ones to market, which is very important. And it was right at the time when people were very comfortable, like particularly on Amazon, like I can order something to my house. It's going to show up. It's going to be what I thought it was. If I don't like it, I can send it back. It's not that much of a hassle. And it just was kind of in that time when people were like, man, it's really kind of nice having something to show up rather than I want to go to the store and try it on.
Right.
So, yeah.
Initially, I'm sure like you were doing a lot of different things, but what were your main responsibilities with the business?
So initially, yeah, you do everything, but I was the guide and outfitter director. So basically our philosophy was like, we're not going to have like pro staff and all that kind of stuff. We're going to get the best outfitters in the world to buy into our brand. And then when guys go on these big trips, they're going to see guides and outfitters wearing it and go like, well, man, I need to be like, why am I not wearing that stuff? Mm-hmm. It's like you go to the Olympic trials, like, I got a white set of shoes. Like, why do I not have a set of those?
Right. Yeah.
That same thing. And that's what we did. We did a really good job of that right away. And it was, it just took off. And, the original, it's so much bigger and so much better than it ever was originally. Even the vision in the early days was like, hey, we want to build this cool brand, do whatever we want, be able to go hunt and have control over all the products. and it's just gotten big. It's been so successful, and it's just been a lot. It's way bigger, way more successful than I ever could have imagined.
Yeah. That's so interesting. Initially it was directed at like sheep hunting, no?
Yeah. We essentially what like the pinnacle of hunting is sheep hunting,
right?
Like those are the most serious guys. We went after that market hard, and then everybody projects themselves as a sheep hunter or sees guys doing that. And it's very similar to mountaineering. So like we target all the guys that were climbing Everest. That's the sheep hunter.
Yeah.
And everybody else that goes in the outdoors, I mean, you think about it, like guys wearing North Face, they've got all this crazy gear that they really don't need.
Yeah.
But if somebody calls you and you're going to go climb a mountain, you can step in a closet and go like, I got all that stuff. Yeah. And that's how it is. It's with hunting. It's with wrestling. Like, I mean, how many guys really need really good shoes?
Right.
Not that many.
Yeah.
But you want to have them. Like that's what the good guys have.
For sure.
And especially if you build really good product. The thing with D2C that we found is that, and with our brand is like, if you pull back the curtain, you tell people what you're building it, why it's the best, and you actually build the best. Because the problem is if you don't build the best stuff, they will, once you educate them, they will go out, look around, and they become experts at what you told them and what you're looking at, like fabrics and design and all that kind of stuff. And then they'll buy somebody else's product if you don't.
The design of the products initially, was it kind of intuition? Was there a lot of trial and error with samples and stuff like that?
Yeah, a lot of trial and error, and just knowing what we wanted. I mean, like right now, you walk out in the technical hunting apparel space, and it's like there is all kinds of great stuff. Like we build the best. I would say that all the time. But if you go back 15 years, there wasn't that much stuff available. Like I was before our brand and the one before, like I was wearing Arc'teryx and like mountaineering stuff because. One of the cool things we did is we designed our own camouflage. And so for about 20 years, the camouflage market had kind of had a stranglehold on advancement in fabric, because back in the day you used to license fabric and everybody had the same pick from the same camo companies, the same fabric. So essentially they all built the same thing because the camo pattern was what was selling. So what we did is we designed a very distinctive camo pattern that you would see in a magazine or you would see on somebody and be like, oh, that guy's wearing something different, catch your eye, which our camos are very distinct, designed differently than sticks and limbs, designed for the mountains. And what it allowed us to do is build it on the best fabrics, because before we started, it was like, it wasn't about the fabrics or the design. It was about camo. And we turned it into like, we're building these incredible designs, 4-way stretch fabric, best membranes, totally waterproof, all that kind of stuff. And we're building it. So we're building, we're actually ahead of like technical apparel, mountaineering, all that kind of stuff, building it on the same level. And so it was a real advancement at that time. It went from really garbage, like in the early 2000s, I mean, we're wearing cotton because it was in camo.
Right.
And then, by 2010, you're wearing like as good a technical apparel as any mountaineering company or anything else.
Yeah, I'll say that. I mean, I can attest to that. Being in Alaska, where it's just the most raw, craziest weather possible, I was pretty ridiculously comfortable wearing that stuff. I'm like, this is really not bad. Like, we're glassing, we're sitting out here for hours looking for bears, and I'm kind of just like, I'm good. It gets a little cold, or it gets a little too cold. I throw the Inferno pan on, and gets a little hot, I take it off, no worries. And
burner,
the burner, that's what it was.
Yeah,
the burner, my bad. Yeah, throw the burner pan
booties
on.
And
the booties. The booties are game changer.
Yeah.
And that was there were samples while we were out there, right? You were developing them.
I designed those actually on the first hunt I did out there. We ended up spending the night. We got one of the places where we climbed down. We were going after your bear.
Yeah,
we got down there. I killed my bear, and then the tide came in on us. We got stuck against the rocks, and Matt was there. It was a freaking freezing night, and I was just like, I gotta solve this problem. And so like, I'm gonna build these things because the restriction, having a boot tied to your foot restricts blood flow, and that's what makes you cold.
Yeah.
And so those you slide on, they're
so
down
nice.
there. They're so nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
mean,
crazy.
That's another thing we came to market with was the first waterproof down. Like down is far superior to anything synthetic or man-made. It just always, if you got it wet, you were in danger.
Right.
And then when we used Quicks down, when that came to market, like nobody really had done it. We were the first ones to put it out. So waterproof down was a game changer. You got something you can pack down to nothing. It's going to keep you super warm, and it's going to stay waterproof. So like in the old days, you just always had to worry about getting it wet. Now you don't have to worry about that. Those are, and now it's like standard. I mean, we've been doing it so long now. It's like everybody else has copied it.
Yeah.
It's like standard, but that's it's a game changer for staying warm. Because if you can stay warm, you can stay dry, you can stay mentally in it.
You're fine. Yeah.
It's like athletics or anything else. Like if you're not going to get tired and you still got some energy, you can still go.
Yep.
But if you're missing one of those, like it is a miserable experience,
No doubt.
Can you take us through that Alaska trip compared to some of your other ones? Obviously, I heard it from him. It sounded amazing, but what is that like? Cause
yeah, it's cool. Cause it's as raw and as rugged and as remote as you can get. I mean, literally you're 3 days out there. And we were out on the Alaska Peninsula, and it's like, people always say like, oh, if something happened, you can if something really happens out where we're at, it's probably 2 days to get to you.
Dang.
Like it's remote. Like, I mean, you're not just calling, you could call the Coast Guard if there's a cutter that's close. I mean, this is out, I mean, we're looking at the ocean out there where, Deadliest Catch is filmed. Like, I mean, that's all that stuff is out there. I mean, it's remote. And when you look at it on a map and you overlay it over the United States, you're like, that is way out there. Like people don't realize how big Alaska is. And it's a cool, cause it's something that it's one of the ways you can it's the closest thing to time travel you can get to. Cause you go back, we're doing the exact same things that guys were doing 75 years ago and nothing's changed. Wow. It's not like there's, we got better, we're still flying in airplanes that are 50 years old, and you're in an area that's not like there's, you walk down the beach and there's a cabin or something and you're in the middle of nowhere. Like we got better gear, thankfully. And we got an inReach. You can, text your wife and, let everybody know you're okay and anything, but it's essentially the same thing. I mean, it's like, the bears are just as big as they've always been. You're in the middle of nowhere, and it's you versus the elements. And it's just kind of, like you said earlier, you can just unplug from the phone and like, you're just there. There's really nothing else going on.
Yeah. The coolest part, I think, is that after you unplug a little bit and you're removed from everything, for us, it was like, once we got settled in to camp, you're just so present. Like you have no other choice but to be right in the moment. You can't really think too far back. You can't think too far ahead. You're just like locked in. And I love that about it. Yeah. That and the water. The ocean. Yeah.
Oh, the drinking water.
The drinking water.
Oh, yeah.
It's great. I was like, this is so clean, wild. Yeah. You just got clean drinking water, just like flowing. If it's moving water, you just go throw your bottle in and you're set.
There was like 3 days there that you weren't responding to anybody. And for some reason, like his dad and his wife were all hitting me up. I was like, I don't know. Either the bear got him or he got the bear.
It's kind of two options, right?
Yeah. It's just a cool thing to go experience. And when we started talking and that hunt actually came up late, Lance, the outfitter, was like, hey, I got a guy that canceled. And I was like, oh, because we had talked about going hunting. I go, well, I'll see if Bo wants to do that. And I just thought, oh, this would be a pretty cool one, because you can tell people about it, like what you're going to do, and but ultimately, like you got to go do it.
For sure.
You say like, listen, we're going to be really remote. You don't understand how remote you're going to be. This is going to be cold. Like you need to make sure you got all your stuff.
Yeah.
If you forget something, it can be pretty miserable.
Yeah.
And we had enough stuff where
it's
pretty comfortable. Like, I mean, the guys that were doing it 50 years ago on canvas,
I can imagine,
were definitely tougher than us.
Definitely.
Like,
no doubt. Yeah. I can't imagine, like, I mean, for me, I was lucky that I had you to kind of like help me prepare and get ready for it. And you're never going to really, I didn't fully understand what to expect until I did it, but I can't imagine people that like don't have that resource try to go do it. It's like, man, even if I didn't have you, if I just tried to like book that hunt and go do it by myself, it would have been way different. Like the amount that you need to know to like make it really work is like, you have to have a lot of experience.
Yeah. And Lance, the guy we went with, Lance, freelance, like
he's great.
He's phenomenal. The logistics are phenomenal. We had good food. Like all that stuff's taken care of, which helps to make you feel comfortable. Like we go on a lot of trips and there's guys that just leave.
Right.
Like you get to Alaska, there's guys that get out there and then they're just like, hey man, this isn't for me. I got to go.
Yeah.
Like that, when we sat at that, at Lake Clark Air and all those guys were there and they had all watched the bear films and stuff and they were all ready to go. Like a good portion of those guys. In fact, the one guy we were talking to, he actually texted me on Instagram later and was like, I was like, oh, how'd it go? Did you get one? And he's like, I was unprepared. a mental midget and I got to go back. And he's like, I pulled the pin on day 3. And, and it happens quite a bit because it's like, it just, you guys get like your reaction to that. It's, you're just not prepared to be that, and to be that like lonely, like it's not lonely, but just to be that remote and isolated. Yeah. I mean, it's isolated.
For sure. Yeah. I remember it was pretty funny. So after we had finished the hunt, we got back to the lodge and a guy that was going out after us came up to me and he was like, how'd you enjoy it? And I was like, yeah, it was great. This was like my first backpack hunt, like trip. Like we were hiking out and he was like, no, you didn't. I was like, I'm not like an expert, like, but I'm pretty sure like we had a pack and I hiked like 5 miles. So I don't know for sure, but like, as far as I'm concerned, that's a backpack like hunt. And he was like, because I guess people don't do it how we normally do it.
No, we did. It was pretty, because I told Lance, I had actually killed a great big bear right there.
Right.
And it took us 10 days to figure out where the best spot to camp was. And we were hiking, it's like basically 11 miles round trip to get over there. Yeah. I was like, let's just suck it up on the first day, load up. We did 2 trips, 2 11 miles back. Let's just get all our stuff over there. Let's just stay over there. And then we can figure out how to get out of there once, we know there's water over there. We can pack enough food. And Bo's tough, and like we're not going to run into a problem. Like, let's just go over there and camp in the best spot because we were way above. We could glass over the ocean. We had a huge vantage, and we're going to end up walking over there every day and then coming back in the dark. Like this way, we can get up first light and we can glass until dark. And it was, I mean, it turned out awesome. It was a killer spot.
Yeah.
But it was not normal. It's funny that the guy that said that is just like the nicest dude ever.
Super nice.
And then he was like,
no, you didn't.
You didn't really do a backpack.
I'm like, I think we did.
I was like, no, we backpack. And I told him where we went. He was like, he was like, and he would never say anything. He's like, I just told Bo Nickal he didn't go backpacking.
It was funny to me because he was so confident that I didn't, that I was like, maybe I didn't. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, most guys are like, yeah, we were hiking out to this knob every day or whatever. Like they've never done that. You don't go 6 miles and come back 3 times to go do it. Yeah, it was pretty. But yeah, I mean that was. And normally I would like go hunting with guys and stuff. Like normally I wouldn't. First time I ever hunted with somebody like, hey, you want to go brown bear? But it's like, wow, dude, you've been in some really high pressure situations. Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure he's going to be okay.
It was definitely,
he's going to perform.
It was definitely very tough. Like, I won't lie. We started we got all the way out there. First off, that's a whole thing in itself to even get there. To how much was it, like 4 plane rides? You finish.
They just get smaller.
They get smaller and smaller. You finish on the Super Cub, which is the pilot and you, and it's like basically a piece of paper between you and the outside of the plane.
Yeah, fabric plane.
It's crazy. And so then we land and I'm like, all right, we're here. And I remember we started on this hike and he's like, we're going over there. And I'm like, that looks like kind of far. And then he's like, yeah, then we're going to go straight back, pick up more stuff. And we got about halfway through the hike. I was feeling it a little bit. I've never hiked like that. Yeah. I mean, I've done a lot of hard stuff, but the hike like that was pretty crazy. And I just remember telling myself, I'm like, dude, you're here. Like, you're in it. Like, you can't think about complaining or, your feet hurt or whatever. It's like, you just do it. You got to go. Like, we're in the middle of the Alaskan Peninsula. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah, it was a good game plan. It was fun. I've had like, it's funny. The same thing, like I always equate hunting and sports is very similar. It's like performing and not performing, and who's up to it or who's not. But I was on a stone sheep hunt in the Yukon in 2012, and I had been 17 days back. It was a brutal hunt. I got back to the main camp. There were some guys flew in, and I could tell the one guy was kind of this is a $40,000 hunt. I won the hunt in a drawing. Wow. But if you purchased this hunt, if you bought it, it was a $40,000 sheep hunt. Mm-hmm. And this guy got out and he was walking around. I could just tell like the guy was a little bit off. He was spooked. And we went and had lunch, and then he comes in and tells the outfitter, he goes, hey man, I just called my wife. Like, I got an emergency at home. I like, no big deal. Like, don't need a refund or anything. But like, I need to go out when the plane goes out. And he was like, oh, okay. Like, I guess so. And like, the outfitter told me, he was a friend of mine, and then I was like, oh man, that sucks. Like, I wonder what's going on or whatever.
Right, yeah.
And then his buddy that came in with him came into the tent, and he goes, I knew it. And I was like, what, like family problem or something? He goes, he doesn't even have a sat phone.
Oh, he didn't even.
He was spooked. He just like, it was too remote for him. And, it's
Yeah.
and the outfitter was like, dude, if he wants to go, he's going out. And like, he flew out with me. Like the guy dropped 40 grand to go like show up and be like, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
Like this is too far out. Like, I'm good.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, not even you got the money and the manhood on the line. That's pretty.
He just and you know, maybe he'll go back at some point and go like, hey man, I just wasn't prepared. I didn't prepare enough. Like just like anything, like it's, you know, performance anxiety. You got there and went, man, I don't really want to step on the mat. Like I'm good.
Right. Yeah.
Where did you feel that the most? What hunt did you feel that the most?
It's one of those things. I grew up doing it. More and more had some pressure situations and through failure. Like I've had some of them go wrong. I mean, the first, obviously I've killed these 2 giant bears with my bow, but the first brown bear hunt I ever did, I failed on one. Like I got in close to in 2003, I got in close to a big brown bear and it was like, I just didn't have the skill that I have now. And I hadn't really thought it through. I don't know if I even told myself like I was hoping that it was going to work out, and I hadn't worked through the scenario. And I got into 20 yards of this bear, and it was easily killable, you know, situation. I just wasn't prepared. And I wounded the bear, and we ended up having to kill it with a gun. And it was like, it was a failure to me. And that's 20 years, 15 years before I actually killed one with a bow.
Wow.
And stuff like that. Like I thought about it all the time. And then like, okay, these are the things I need to do. I need to be prepared for this. I need to think about these shot angles. I need to think about what's going to happen at close range. I need to make sure he's not looking at me, like all that stuff that I had never been there. In my mind, I call it conceptual knowledge. And I get it a lot in hunting where guys are like, oh, here's what I'm going to do. We were at the Lake Clark Air and the guy was like, oh dude, I'm going to kill you. You remember that guy?
Yeah.
He was just like, oh, this is no big deal. I've seen the videos.
Young guy.
Young guy. And I was like, well, I call it conceptual knowledge because you think you know how you're going to perform and you think you know what you're going to do. But if you don't do all the things ahead of time and think it through and do all just like what you do and all the practice and be in shape and make sure you're shooting good and just know like the biggest thing is the last 10 seconds. Like, can you just calm yourself down and be in the moment and make it happen. And it's similar to everything. And like, yeah, I mean, you kind of get it through failure and trial and error, and then you get good at it. And it still doesn't always work out.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Sometimes it just doesn't go well. So, but
there's so much out of your control.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like, you don't know the weather, you don't know the animal, you don't know the wind. It's like, there's just so many things that could happen in a split second that you have no say over. It's just what's gonna happen is gonna happen. You can try to put yourself in the best possible position through what you know and your experience. And other than that, it's like,
yeah. I mean, it's like what you do. Like,
yeah,
you know, jumping in the Super Cub, going in the middle of nowhere in bad weather is a lot like, you know, probably locking in the cage.
Yeah.
Like you gotta walk through the door and shut the thing, and like then you're in there. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, people are always, oh, brown bear hunt is so dangerous and all that stuff. Yeah, potentially, but there's a lot of other things, those airplanes and weather and, you know, you could get giardia. I mean, there's lots of stuff that can really wreck your, you know, like it's one of those things you got to prepare for everything.
Yeah. So your first trip for brown bear in Alaska was 2003.
2003, yeah.
And then you didn't go back until
2015. Or
yeah. I wish we had the big TV up.
2018.
So we could show that.
I'll send you the video. You can put it on.
Yeah, put it on.
Yeah, and the photo. Yeah,
unbelievable. It's probably, in my opinion, it's the best hunting video out there. I think I've showed you it before.
Probably before your last fight. I think we were watching up.
Yeah, we were. But yeah, that's like, how amazing was that? Like that trip.
It's incredible, and like I said, they don't always work out like that. And so like, I have a pretty deep appreciation when they do, because I've been a lot of them that don't work out, but that, you know, sometimes it's just all lines up, and that was one of them. We got on this giant bear, I ran down there, and he got on the beach, and it was like there was this moment, and Lance was like, just go. And he was walking down the beach, I was above him, and I just ran down on him, and I shot him at 12 yards. He rolled over. I hit him good, and he rolled over. He runs by me at 4 yards. I hit him good, and I was just like, don't shoot the bear, and runs by me. I'll send you the picture. You can post it. It's an incredible capture. And Matt's over here. He filmed the whole deal. Like, and it's for it to all come together. You know, number six biggest bear ever killed with a bow. Wow. Which is, you know, bears. There's still bears in the top 10 that are from 1958. Like there's not a lot of giants that have been killed with a bow.
Right.
And I mean, just like I've been dreaming about that since I was a little kid, and then to have it happen, and then to have it happen again. But those are just one where you just like, you know, a lot of gratitude for that. Where you're just like, you know, you failed, and appreciation for the opportunity. Like those are like, I mean, guys are always like, oh, well, if I had that opportunity, it's like, dude, I understand. You understand when you go on a trip like that, how grateful you are, like just to be there. Like, dude, I get to do this.
Yeah.
This episode is sponsored by Huel.
All right, real story. The other morning I was running late to practice. I had 5 minutes to get out the door, and I realized I hadn't eaten a thing. No time to cook, definitely no time to sit down for a meal. That's where Huel came in clutch. Their Black Edition, ready to drink, is one of my go-tos. 35 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, and it actually tastes good. It's also low in sugar, which is huge for me when I'm getting ready for my fights. I've tried all the flavors, and they're all good, but I'm a chocolate guy. It tastes like a milkshake and keeps me running full through training. No prep, no dishes. Just twist the cap, take it with me, and I'm fueled up before I even hit the mat. It's also got vitamin B12 to help fight fatigue, vitamin C for immune support, and even calcium to help with digestion. Here's the kicker. It's under $5 a bottle. That's cheaper than a protein bar and way more satisfying. So if you're like me, busy, training, or just trying to eat better without overthinking it, Huel's the move. New customers, visit Huel.com/Nickals today and use code Nickals to get 15% off your first order plus a free gift. Thank you, Huel, for sponsoring the show. Let's get back to it. And then your next trip was day 15 or last day of the season. And you had to go. You had maybe like
3 hours to go.
3 hours to go. Yeah.
We had actually shot the film. Like we just shoot documentary style as we're going. And Matt and I, we had actually just shot the ending of, like, you know, when you're hunting a big one, sometimes you don't get them, like the kind of like, and you're like, because I just didn't make it happen. And then I was literally strapping my bow to the backpack, and I looked down, and this absolute monster walked off the beach. I mean, if we had been gone 5 more minutes, we might not have seen him. And he was just chasing us out, came off the ocean. It was just one of those bears you look at, like, sometimes you got to look at bears and know how big they are. Sometimes you look at it once and you go, that is a giant, and the same deal. And just ran down, and with about an hour left, got to put a good arrow in him and got him killed.
And that shot was crazy too, because he stood up and you shot him from when he was standing on his back legs.
Yeah, 55 yards. He came along a trail. Matt and I actually took off on him. He was coming right to us. We had a perfect spot to get him. And he was coming right to us, and the last second he veered off, and he went over, and like we sprinted down through the brush and got there. And Lance was like maybe 50 yards behind us. He could see, and I actually wouldn't have killed that bear, but I don't hear very good. And Matt was behind me. He goes, he's still coming. He's still coming.
Oh.
He's still coming. So it was like, because I don't hear very good. He's like, I can hear him coming. I can hear him coming. He was just coming down this trail, and he was just on the other side of the brush. Got to the perfect spot. Lance started blowing on the predator call. Bear stands up and looked at us, and that was one where it's like, that was all practice and just like going into auto mode, because I had actually envisioned that shot. I had practiced that shot a bunch, and it was like, and I had looked at the anatomy a lot of like, okay, I need to make it, because that is where it can be a dangerous situation. You don't make a good shot, especially with a bow.
They're looking at you.
And I mean, it's, you know, nuked him.
Right.
55 yards, hit him right in the heart.
Yeah.
31 seconds, he was dead.
Done.
Giant, you know, just like
Which one was bigger, the first one or
the second one had a bigger body, and they're both in the top. They're both over 28 inch, like world class monster Boone and Crockett bears, 28 inches. One's 28 and 1, one's 28 and 6. So
yeah,
the giant. They're both giants.
Right.
Yeah, just as big as they get. 10-footers, 10-4 and 10-6.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but they're. You know, it's one of those that, like, it's just a cool opportunity. It's a cool animal. Probably nothing more impressive than a photo or a video. Like,
right.
And it's a real hunt, like you saw. Yeah. Like, there's just not a lot of them running around.
No. Do you want to go back?
I'm going every 4 years. I'm going next spring.
So you're going to have like the whole top 10.
It's your Olympics.
That's the goal. Like I you know, I love doing it. I love the process. I love like letting other ones go. I love, you know, like I may not see another one for 2 more hunts, but I'm going every year they let me go. Yeah. You can only kill one every 4 years.
Right.
But I love it.
Yeah.
So, you going back?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to do it with the bow.
Yeah.
I got to practice and get better and keep working on my skills. But that's a goal for me for sure.
Yeah. Well, you did good. I mean, and I'm not just saying that, like it was your bear when he came out, it was kind of like, it was a sleepy, like we're just like, is he coming?
Yeah.
Is he, you're always like, is he still there?
Anticipation. Yeah.
Is he still there? We couldn't, and then we could see
because they could easily just go the other way.
Yeah. And they're so sneaky. I mean, that thing was like in and out, and you could see it, and then finally walks out. And like, I remember I was looking through, I had it on my phone scope, and I was just, well, I hope I hope he hits him good, because at that point it's on you.
Yeah.
And I just remember he took a step forward and you just pounded him. Yeah.
It's so interesting. Like hunting with a rifle now, I mean, there's still challenges. Like you still have to make a good shot, but I've done I would say 80%, 90% of what I've done hunting wise is archery. So I feel like when I'm hunting with a bow, everything with a rifle, it's like so much less complicated that like it's easier to make a good shot, in my opinion. Like you're just way less mechanics and way less to worry about. And I feel like, I mean, I've shot a decent amount with a rifle, but I've again shot way more archery. And so, but I feel like it helps, like it makes it easier.
Well, I mean, where a rifle hunt ends is where a bow hunt starts.
Yeah.
That's really,
that's like, exactly it. Right.
And bow hunting it's tough because the success rate's way lower.
Way lower. I mean, you got to be okay with it too. Like that's just part of the game, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun and it's a real challenge. Like I said, for me, it's the only thing I've ever been able to compare to. Like you can train for it, you can do it your whole life, and you're putting it on the line, and you go out there and it kind of happens. And if it doesn't go well, you got to live with it and think about it in your mind. And when it goes really well, you can't rest on that because you got another one coming up.
Definitely.
It's always a constant challenge, which is why I love it.
You can always improve and get better and refine things. Like I don't have, that much experience. I've only been hunting a few years, but like the hunts that I've been on, I look at like things I did well, mistakes I made, and like how to adjust it. And I feel like every year I just gain a better foundation and base of like understanding how to do it. Right. Like I think about some things that I did archery hunting, like mule deer and elk, where I'm like, what was I thinking? Like I was so dumb, but it was a good lesson because now I know never to do that again. Or, something that worked out well. And it's like, oh, that was a good, tool to add to the tool belt to where, if the situation arises in the future, I could use that. Yeah. But it's fun. It's like always evolving and things changing. It's definitely a lot like wrestling or fighting.
Yeah. But with hunting, it's like, so it was 12 years in between when you missed it to the next one. Like with sports, you get like the next week or like 6 weeks. Like the time in between can be debilitating.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I had lots of hunting. I had tons of success in between, but in that particular thing, it was like that one ate at me for a while. Like I did fail, and it's like when you can really reflect on it and go like, what actually happened there? Well, what happened was I didn't have the skills at the time. I didn't think about it enough. I didn't train enough. I didn't shoot enough, and the moment was bigger than I was prepared for. And then when it came around again, now I know how I'm going to react, and so. That's kind of the goal. It's like the growth and getting better and more skills and it's fun. Like it was, I really enjoy like going, like taking my son now. Like it's fun to watch other people like gain, what do you do? Because one cool thing I noticed when we were hunting is like, what are you looking for when you're glassing? Like you were asking me, so we were pegging bears, it's like, well, you just kind of grid searching this and you're looking, there's going to be places, and it like you were not just like, hey, find me a bear. It was like you were looking like, okay, I want to find how I can find my own bear too, which is pretty cool to go like, oh, they're down here. They'll either be eating kelp, or now that the tide's up, they're going to be up on the hills, or they're going to be with south. It was just cool to learn.
I love learning. I love being a student, and I feel like it's so. A lot of times, I got to a point where I was. Like wrestling was like such a big part of my life, and I got really good at it. And so it was always like people asked me questions about it or me teaching. That was pretty much like a good portion of what I did on a daily basis. It was, you'd still try to learn and stuff like that, but I'm doing clinics, people doing interviews, and it's like, I'm always talking about what I know. And I love just like being able to sit there and be quiet and learn. And I was so glad that on that hunt, I was with you and Lance and Matt, and I'm just like, you guys are so experienced and have done so much stuff. I'm just like sitting quiet and just like listening. And if I have a question or two, just get to ask it. But it was like, for me, that part of it was the learning experience was, I think, even more cool and more valuable to me than like actually killing a bear, because that I know I'm like becoming a better person, better hunter, like refining myself, like building character, building skills. And I think like my goal with hunting is just like, there's not like an end goal. It's just like continue to like get better at it. Like I want to be able to like be dropped off wherever and be self-sufficient where like I know what to do. And I like the idea of like, you know, continuing to improve to where if I'm in, you know, Alaska or Colorado or Pennsylvania or Florida or wherever, it's like they could drop me off and I could figure out like what we need to do and put myself in a position to like be successful. So seeing guys like you do that, I'm like just trying to be a sponge.
Yeah, I mean, the goal is to be a really good hunter, not to go hunting. I mean, and it's like, yeah, if you can drop yourself anywhere, like with elk hunting, I feel like I'm getting to the point where like I can figure it out anywhere.
Yeah,
like it's not about a spot. Like it's not about going to a spot or going to a really good elk hunt spot. Like put me anywhere. It'll take me a little while, I'll figure it out, and I'll figure out what they're doing, and because you know elk, and and you can be versatile. And same with lots of game with sheep, same way, you know, like. So it's just cool because it's a constant challenge. It never it's the one thing I've done that just it never gets old. It's never like, okay, well I've done that. I got one of those on the wall now. I don't need to do that anymore. Right. It's like that's not what it's about. It's about going back, getting better. Right. You know, seeing it like, and it's not a competition. It's a competition with yourself, which is like, and I'm always just trying to do better and get better at the skills that I got. You can always be a better shot. You can always. You know, hunt harder, work longer, you know, so. Yeah.
I mean, you've pretty much done like everything that you could do. Is there still things on like a bucket list per se for you? Or is it more just like what you're saying, continue to get better? Like you've done.
I've done a lot of it, like elk, sheep, and big bears. Yeah. Those are my favorite. I love hunting elk.
Yeah.
I love hunting sheep, all different kinds of terrain, and the brown bear, like, I'm an addict. Like I love that.
So we have bears in the spring, elk in the fall. When sheep season usually?
Early August and September.
Okay. Yeah.
What's a sheep hunt like?
It's like mountaineering. Only instead of getting from A to B and trying to get to a spot, it's like that. But you got to stay focused the whole time, and you're hunting an animal in those conditions. Like,
got it.
It's the most physical, and it's the most challenging. It's just as remote. It's like every day is more than we did the first day. Yeah. Like every day you're moving a lot. I mean, most of the time.
Right.
And they're really hard to find. And it's just remote country. Like it's just fun. And I love it. And
what's the elevation that they're at?
Oh, I mean, the highest I killed a sheep in New Mexico at 14,200 feet, 14,100, something like that. Yeah. And then most of the time it's like between 8 and 10, 7 and 10. Up there. You know, it depends on where you're at. There's some lower elevation, but it's just usually pretty remote. And I love just carrying everything on your back and just moving, just going, you know, like it's the same deal. It's just a challenge. It's a grind. It's one of those, I always say it's like, you look back and go, man, that was a lot of fun, but I cannot put my finger on when it was fun because it sucked the whole time. It was awful the whole time. It was hard. And like, but you look back on it and you go like, you know, nothing that's really awesome you look back on wasn't a struggle.
For sure.
You know, it's always a struggle of like, you know, we did a sheep hunt this fall, and like, I always forget how hard it is. And we had the first 2 days were just a gnarly bushwhack, 15 miles, and it was raining and just brush pulling on you the whole time. It's just like the world hand fighting against you the whole time. It's just like snapping your head the whole time. And it's like, oh, this sucks. And then we got in some beautiful country, killed a great big ram, and it's just like, oh, it's all worth it. But while you're doing it, you're like, I don't know if I want to do this again. Like I thought I was over this.
I will say too, like doing hard things like that when you're in the moment, it makes little things like so much more enjoyable. Like I remember when we were in Alaska, I got like a little Snickers bar, and I was just like, I mean, this is the first one. By the end, I had eaten a lot, so they got a little worse. But the first one, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Yeah. Or just like, you know, the sun came out for a little bit and it's warm. You're like, wow, this feels so good. Or, you know, they bring you a nice hot coffee in the morning. Like you just appreciate little things like that so much when you're really in those environments. And I feel like it makes me think about guys, you know, 50, 60, 80, 100 years ago, guys that were like doing that to survive. I'm like, man, it's so tough.
Yeah. And that's where like the wrestling thing comes in. Like it just makes you so much tougher to do anything. I mean, we were on a stone sheep hunt in British Columbia. We ran our food on day 13 of it, and I gave my food away.
Yeah.
Because some of the other guys were really, really hungry. They were hurting.
Yeah.
And they were just like, dude, are you crazy? And I was like, listen, man, like once you've cut weight, this, like I can walk by any stream and get a drink.
Right.
I'm actually not even like, it's not even bugging me.
Food's
like,
not that big a deal. I just
going 2 days without eating is not that big
some
of a
water
deal.
and I'm good.
Yeah. If I couldn't drink, that maybe that would be a different, but like I can just go by a stream and drink.
No problem.
No
tell
big
him,
deal.
tell Tony about your Argentina story. The one with the guide that lived on the.
Oh yeah. I went hunting in this national park in Argentina for red stag. And it was like, and there's very few times when people tell you like, hey, here's what we're going to go do. And the guy's like, hey, we're going to ride 200 kilometers into this national park. And I was thinking like 200K, like, come on, dude. Yeah. I'm not sure it wasn't 400K. I mean, we rode for 2.5 days straight. Once this guy, we drive up to this trailhead thing. This guy comes out of the mountains like he's like a gaucho. I mean, he's like a cowboy. All the saddles he had built himself, comes down with this little herd of string of horses. We got on and go with this guy and go in there. And he was the only guy that was allowed to live in there. And he lived in this national park. He was born there. What? And this guy, like, I mean, this was the guy would not drink water. Like we had and when you go to Argentina, like they take wine everywhere. It's like, listen, a glass of wine is fine, but like when you're doing a hard activity, like the last thing you want to drink is some Malbec, And it was like they just like red wine is what they drink. It was just crazy.
They didn't bring water.
I remember being like,
That's
can
insane.
we get some water?
And didn't you say they brought like a leg of beef or something?
We had a leg of beef. We had a wheel of cheese, and we had a pile of red wine. Like, I'm not joking. Like 20 bottles of red wine, and it was like, and this guy Pancho was like, I was like, can we get some water? Like, and he's like, he had one of those little Boda things, and he was like, he's like, I mean, he was stoked. Like he drinks water all the time. He's like, we got the red wine, and we rode way in there, ended up killing the stag. It was a super remote hunt. And then we had another 100 kilometers out to get out. And it was just crazy remote. And the cool thing, and you've probably seen like the hunting Hitler stuff where so we ride out all the way out to this lake, and we get to the end of this lake. There's no roads anywhere. We're getting picked up by a boat. We're like 30 kilometers down this lake where they're coming to get us with a boat. And we ride to the end of this lake, and here's a giant concrete bunker and a Swiss chalet. And I was like, dude, what is the deal with this? We're in how did they even get it here? There's no roads or anything like that. And he's like, well, it was like,
we found him.
Somebody from World War II, that's where they finished out their days. Jeez. Like somebody from a German, Nazi came over and they lived out their end of their days. They had a bunker there and everything. The guy was like, wow. It's crazy. Yeah. And I was like, this is wild.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, it was, but yeah, they're like no water. Like we get back from hunting all day, and then they put the leg on the fire. It was like 4 hours to eat. I was just like, oh man, can I just get a mountain house? I'm so tired. I want to go to sleep. Yeah. We have to wait, and then the cheese and the whole nine. But it's just that's the fun stuff. Like when they go really easy or there's not something funny like that, you don't remember it. But like that, that's why it's always a cool story to come back and be like, oh wow, it did.
Yeah. How do you compare hunting internationally versus in the States? Maybe like the actual hunt, but also kind of the cultural perception of it and stuff.
The international stuff is more just the travel.
Right.
And I haven't done a ton of international. Like, I had to cancel on a trip to Asia. I haven't done a ton of it. The hardest stuff is kind of in North America, and I've really focused on that stuff here. But when you travel, it's just a long ways to travel. But it's cool. It's like, it's more a cultural thing. It's like you go there and you get to see these other cultures and how people do it. And then you get to go hunting too.
Right.
So, but
have you picked up or learned anything from any of the guys out there that you're like, wow, that's different from how we do it or how I thought that you could do it?
Not internationally, but like every time, like it's funny. Guys are always like, oh, the self-guided thing, or I'm not going to go with a guy. Like I've went with tons of really, like, especially sheep hunting, really great guides. And I'm always learning something. even like guys way younger than me, guys that are just getting started. Like like you always learn something, which is cool.
Yeah.
Little tips, or somebody got a different gear technique. I mean, we've designed a lot of gear based on like, hey man, have you ever thought about this? Like, oh, that's a pretty good idea. And you go back and start messing around with it. And
right. Yeah.
it's just fun to be out there testing.
Yeah. Test stuff out and figure stuff out.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry. What was your very first hunt like, and what would you recommend as like the perfect starter hunt? Just maybe like a guy from Jersey or something like that.
Anybody just to go out west, like an antelope hunt or something, just like to go out west and see, like it's so much different than here. Here's, everything's in small pieces and you got to get permission or state park, but like just to go out west on a, like on a simple hunt, like an antelope hunt or a public land deer hunt, or just to go out, like for guys, especially if you're talking out here, just like, try and get a tag in one of the Western states and go out there and just go out. Like, I mean, you could be successful, maybe not, but it's kind of an adventure. It's like going on, it's just a big vacation.
Either way, it's a win.
Yeah. Just to go check it out and go like, I'm going to try it. Like, you just kind of learn little stuff. You can't quite get it figured out until you go have a couple that just, it never goes bad. You might not get one, but you're out in the West and and you come home and you got a cool story. Like, I got tons of stories. Like, I got my butt kicked. Like, we went out there, we didn't see anything.
Yeah.
So,
when did you first start the idea of like creating content around hunts and like filming hunts, and really like, I feel like the stuff that you guys put out is pretty unique relative to what I've seen otherwise.
Yeah, we try and do stuff. So the hunting, filming, and the film stuff is like, you can do a lot of creative editing.
Yeah.
And you can make something look like what it's not.
Right.
We don't do that. We go do really tough stuff that you don't see very often because it's hard to get. And there's a couple things, Matt actually has really influenced the style of what we've done, and a couple things that I didn't even know we were doing, but like, we don't do hardly any editing. Like, if you watch those bear films, you see everything from the stock, the shot, and the animal going down. And we do it all without cuts, because you can creative edit something. Oh, it went really well. We're just going to show it as it really happened. We're not going to over dramatize anything. It's pretty easy to translate when it's really tough. And so that's kind of our style is just to actually show what it is. I mean, like that 15-day hunt, I show lots of like, dude, just another day of doing the same thing. Like, this is, because if it's just like anything, it looks great on TV. Everybody wants to see guy winning NCAA titles like you guys, but they don't understand the work that goes into it. If you can translate that work that goes into it, like, man, there's a lot of like those 6 a.m. days, the grind, and that's what makes it different, and that's what makes, when you do have the success, it make it way better.
Yeah, and it's so fun to relive that too, to be able to go look back on it, and it's like a movie of your life, right? Yeah. And
we want to, like, everything we do is like, the last thing you want to do is see me going out there doing cool stuff. I'm just the guy in front of the camera. Matt gets to shoot it all. He's actually been closer a lot. I mean, like, he's the one that, he doesn't have any, I at least have a bow. He doesn't have any protection. So at the end of the day, it's one of those, it's a real team effort, but ultimately, like, we want to inspire people to go like, you know what, man, I never really thought about that, but I'm going to give that a try, because I've been there. I mean, like, you see something and you go like, I want to go do that. Like really aspirational with people. Like, listen, this is a short run on this earth, and like, you really can go do some stuff that is pretty cool if you just, and it's not just about money. It's not about like, you can create those opportunities and go like, but a lot of people don't even they don't even know it existed.
Right.
And if you can, that's what we like to show is like, hey, if you buy all the right gear and you do all the prep and you get mentally ready for it and you put some planning into it, like, you can go do these really cool things. It's still here. I mean, like, it's not it's not like a king's activity or something like that. Like, you can go do that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel like the state of like hunting in the community and the culture? I feel like it's become over the last 3 to 5 years, like, way more popular. Like, you see a lot more people doing it, and people getting into it. What do you think about that, and how has it kind of changed?
The double-edged sword.
Right.
There's a lot more people hunting, some of them in my really good spots that I wish they weren't. But no, it's great to see, and it's kind of like had a cultural shift of like the meat movement of people like understanding that, like, oh man, hey, wild game is really good for you, and It's become far more acceptable. I mean, like 20 years ago, you couldn't hardly give, we had extra meat. People are like, I don't know if I like deer. Now it's just like, I killed a buffalo this fall and had it ground or something. And I just said, hey, I got 952 pounds of buffalo burger if anybody wants any. I mean, obviously my family can't eat that much. And I mean, gone.
Wow.
Just crazy how fast it is. So that's been a good thing. And I think people understand a lot more about management and even like the predator thing.
Right.
When you got out there, you were like, people are like, oh my God, you killed the bears. And it's like, listen, like you have to hunt the bears. Like,
right.
You got to keep them in check. It's a whole balance, and we're a part of that whole balancing act.
Definitely. Yeah, that's interesting. What's your favorite game meat to eat?
Probably elk tenderloin.
Elk, good, yeah.
Elks. I mean, sheep is really good on the mountain because you have to work so hard for it. I don't even know if it's very good or not. Right. I just know that when you're super hungry and you've worked that hard to get one, it tastes really good. And so I give away a lot. I mean, I take a lot more than my family can eat, but I give away a lot, and people enjoy it, and it's lean. It's like, it's definitely had a resurgence. People are like, it's not like, oh man, I don't want to do, like, people love it. So it's great.
There's something that's like, I think a lot of people are getting into hunting for that reason specifically. And there's something that's so cool about like bringing home meat from an animal that you killed and like cooking it up for your family right there. It's like, that's hard to beat. Like, it's such a cool feeling. It's like, I don't know why it's in us.
Primal,
I think
yeah.
it's primal.
It's totally primal. I mean, it's just like, I mean, if it was 4,000 years ago, like I like think like, dude, I would really like, I mean, those big bears, like I'd go hunt a cave bear. Yeah. There were guys doing it. They had some stones. Like,
seriously,
how cool would it be to like
with a stick bow
be on the peninsula looking for mastodons
or a spear?
Yeah. Like we're on a mastodon hunt.
Yeah. Like, oh my gosh.
But and I think that's one of the things that people don't understand. Like, there's some genetics to it, and like, it is deep down. Like they're and it's not in everybody, but it's like, you see little kids, like there's some kids that they go out in the yard and there's a bird there and they want to pet it. And there's some kids that want to throw a rock at it. and it's just like, whatever the DNA, that's where it goes,
Yeah, no doubt. Speaking of DNA, have you seen the recent stuff they've been doing where they, like some genetic scientists, they recreated a dire wolf?
The dire
you see
wolf,
this?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's next? It's like they're gonna do woolly mammoths and saber-toothed tigers and all kinds of stuff. Right? Let's go.
Yeah,
real life Jurassic Park. Yeah.
I want to put in for that dire wolf draw.
Dire wolf draw, right?
Yeah, no, that'd be pretty wild. They're got some neat stuff going on, and I mean that and that's another cool thing about the brown bears is that they've been the same for thousands of years.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Those print, we got to those places where they've been walking for thousands of years.
Wow.
You'll see these places in the tundra where they come up like a cliff or something, go through the tundra, and they're 2 feet down and it's bare feet. And they've been walking there since the beginning of time.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Talk about your sheep project a little bit.
Oh yeah. So we have this thing called Conservation Direct. So our company, we, instead of doing like, we don't donate money, or we do, I mean, but we basically do our own sheep transplant projects. And obviously we're started as a sheep hunting company. So, and it's kind of where, that's one of my jobs. I'm the conservation director. So we do 2 or 3 sheep transplants a year. So we take a population that has an excess. We go in there with a helicopter and net guns, and we hire and do it with biologists. It's all state, we do it through the states. And we go in and capture, 25, 30. We did 55 one time, and then we move them to an area that need either total reintroduction or supplementation to grow. Because sheep are one of those animals that they're not doing very great, and they need some help. So we're that's one of the things we do. And you can jump on. It's called Conservation Direct, and so we fund the whole project, pay for everything.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's
really
fun.
cool.
It's a really fun thing to do. And this year, so I did a sheep transplant back in 2020. We moved 25 sheep to Antelope Island in Utah, which had had a die-off, and they were exterminated on there. They basically got sick with pneumonia and died. All of them were dead. So I bought some sheep from a reservation that had excess, moved them to Antelope Island. 2 years later, we put 26 more sheep from Arizona, Rocky Mountain Bighorns, on there. And so the population this year hit about 110, I think, and they sold the first tag. They're going to give one away in the draw, and they sold the first tag this year. So it's the first time that a private company has created a public sheep hunting opportunity in history.
That's amazing.
It's a huge thing in 5 years.
Right.
So.
And people don't know. People think a lot. I think that aren't really familiar with hunting and aren't familiar with people that are really into hunting. They don't realize like how much conservation is a factor and how much the people that are putting time and effort and energy into this, they want all these species to like thrive and do better. It's like they think they see, oh, you killed a sheep or you killed a bear. It's like they don't realize like how many resources you put into keeping that population healthy. Yeah,
there would be almost no game if it wasn't for hunters.
Right.
I mean, hunters have brought it back from the brink. Market hunting, which is like meat hunting in the early 1900s, up and basically exterminated deer. I'm sure in this area there was none.
Right.
And then they shut the season down and put seasons in place, or they stopped hunting, put seasons in place, and then cultivated those deer just like anything, brought them back. And same with elk. And I mean, elk were exterminated. Bison they were down to 35 of them in Yellowstone Park, and it's all $100 that do that. Like, I think people think anti-hunters don't like people hunting. They don't care about animals at all.
Right.
They want to make sure you can't hunt.
Yeah.
But hunters' dollars are what supports all wildlife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty wild, like, to think about, because it's like if you like hunting and you enjoy it, you want to do it, and you want your kids and grandkids and future generations to be able to do it. It's like so obvious you're going to support it, right? Yeah. And like you're going to want a healthy population, and you're going to want the draw system, the tag system, and the seasons to like be fair and for it to make sense for the populations. And in reality, it's like so counterintuitive. People that are anti-hunters is like has nothing to do with the health. They act like it. They use it as like a scapegoat. They talk about the animals because I think it evokes emotional response for people that are maybe on the fence. But the reality is they just don't want people to hunt.
Yeah, and there's a lot of hypocrites out there too. I mean, it's pretty hard to talk about how you don't want anybody to hunt when you drive a car that has leather seats.
Yeah,
and you eat meat, and you wear leather shoes, and you have a nice leather belt. Like,
The first thing I always ask somebody if they give me any fleck about hunting, I'm like, you buy beef at the store? And if they're like, yeah, I do. I'm like, what are we even talking about? What are we talking about? Like,
and it's a renewable resource. I mean,
exactly,
like, it is. I mean,
yeah,
it's just like anything, trees, anything else. Like when it's managed correctly, like can it be done wrong? I mean, market hunting wasn't good when they exterminated everything, but I mean, it's like I said, it's $100 support everything, fish, clean up, like everything. They and these projects that we do. It offsets, like in 2021, we paid for the entire sheep transplant budget for the state of Arizona. We did 5 transplants. We paid for $165,000. First time that a private company had ever we took over the state budget for sheep that year. Mm-hmm. Well, the cool thing is, like, obviously we did those transplants, put in a bunch of new sheep. It was an awesome project. But that $165,000 went to stuff that people are not that into, like Mearns quail and Gila monsters and all kinds of other stuff. So that offset that to where, when you have a healthy game population and you take care of the ones that the hunters are really after, well, that we want the opportunities to hunt, it also takes care of everything else too. There's the stuff that people, like every time there's a guzzler for sheep, well, there's more birds that got water, and there's rabbits and all kinds of stuff. So it's like,
it's a trickle down effect.
Yeah. It all comes together.
Yeah.
They all die. I mean,
part of the life, right? Yeah. It's the way it works. But, No, we appreciate you coming on and chatting with us a little bit. Any other cool things coming up, or any stuff you want to share with the audience?
No, just going to cheer Bo on in Iowa next week.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah, when you coming back out of retirement here?
No, I think I'm going on my first hunt though. So
we got to get you out. We got to get you out.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Some big black bears in Jersey.
Yeah, I've seen them.
He gets mistaken for him every once in a while.
For sure. That's great though. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks,
awesome.
Appreciate it.
This has been a lot of fun.
Cool. Bye, everybody.
Peace.